At the end, explain where people can find such coins and how they can sell them. The 1940s Jefferson nickel is one of those fascinating coins that combines history, rarity, and collector demand into one package. Let's break it down and see why this nickel from the San Francisco Mint can sometimes command jaw-dropping prices at auction. In 1940, America was on the edge of World War II. While the US hadn't officially entered the war yet, tensions were building and resources were already being strained. That's important because the Jefferson nickel series itself was about to undergo some big changes. In just a couple of years, the famous wartime silver nickels would arrive in 1942. But in 1940, the coins were still made of their standard composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel. The San Francisco Mint produced 39,690,000 nickels that year, which seems like a lot. But here's the catch. Most of those coins went into circulation and were heavily used. Very few high-grade examples survived, and that's what makes the 1940s so valuable today. The obverse features the left-facing bust of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. On the reverse, you see Monticello, Jefferson's famous home. If you look closely on the reverse, just to the right of Monticello, you'll spot the tiny S mint mark that tells you it came from San Francisco. Now let's talk values, because this is where it gets exciting. If you find a circulated 1940s, maybe in good or very good condition, it might only bring $2 to $5. In fine to very fine grades, you could be looking at $10 to $20. Still pretty modest. But once you climb into uncirculated mint state, the prices start to rise quickly. A mint state 60 coin might be valued around $150 to $200, while a mint state 65 example can push well above $2,000. And here's where things really heat up, the full step varieties. On Jefferson nickels, collectors prize examples that show 5 or 6 full steps at the base of Monticello, because that level of strike detail is extremely hard to find. A 1940s with full steps in gem condition is super rare. At auction, those coins have brought in some unbelievable numbers. We're talking sales above $20,000, $50,000, and even as high as $100,000 for near-perfect, full-step specimens. Some dealers and collectors value absolutely flawless examples, with full steps as high as $135,000 or $145,000, pushing deep into the six-figure range. Why so much? It comes down to rarity. The San Francisco Mint in 1940 just didn't strike nickels with great detail. So most examples are weakly struck. That means full-step coins are almost non-existent, and when one does show up at auction, collectors battle fiercely to own it. Now, you might be wondering, where can I find a 1940s Jefferson nickel? These coins turn up in a few different places. A lot of families saved coins from the 1930s and 1940s, so you might discover them in old jars, boxes, or coin albums handed down from grandparents. They also appear in estate sales, antique shops, and flea markets. Coin shows and online platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and Stack's Bowers are other great places to spot them. And if you're lucky enough to own a high-grade 1940s, especially with full steps, don't just sell it anywhere. The best route is to get it professionally, graded by PCGS or NGC. That certification proves authenticity and grade, and that's what unlocks the really big money. From there, putting it into a major auction is the smartest move, because that's where collectors with deep pockets are ready to spend 6 figures on rare Jefferson nickels. So, the 1940s Jefferson nickel may not look like much at first glance, but in the right condition, it's a 6-figure rarity, from everyday pocket change to a coin worth $145,000 or more. It's a perfect reminder of how history, rarity, and condition all come together to create true numismatic treasures. The 1938 D Jefferson nickel is one of the earliest issues of the Jefferson nickel series, and it's a coin that carries incredible historical importance and surprisingly high value in the right condition. Let's break down why this coin is so special and how much it could be worth. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The US Mint held a design competition, and the winning design was submitted by Felix Schlag. His portrait of Thomas Jefferson appears on the obverse, while Jefferson's home, Monticello, is shown on the reverse. This design has become iconic lasting decades with only minor changes. Now the Denver Mint produced just 5,276,000 nickels in 1938, compared to modern mintages that run into the hundreds of millions. This is a tiny number, and it makes the 1938 D one of the scarcer nickels of the entire series. When you hold one in your hand, it might look like just another old nickel, but collectors know the truth. Its scarcity and condition can turn it into a serious treasure. If you find one in circulated grades, like good, very good, or fine, the value is fairly modest, maybe $3 to $10. But when you step into higher grades, like extremely fine or about uncirculated, prices can rise into the $20 to $50 range. The real story begins with mint state coins. A mint state 65 example of a 1938 D might bring $250 to $400, and as you go higher, the prices climb fast. And here's where it gets really exciting: the full step designation. On Jefferson nickels, collectors pay a premium for coins, where the steps on Monticello are fully struck and visible. For the 1938 D, finding a gem with full steps is rare and highly desirable. At major auctions, a 1938 D with full steps in top condition has sold for jaw-dropping amounts. We're talking numbers like $40,000, $75,000, and even up to $110,000 for the absolute finest known examples. Some estimates place perfect coins at values pushing on $28,000 or even $133,000, moving solidly into six-figure territory. Why such staggering prices? It comes down to mintage plus strike quality plus survival rate. With only a little over 5 million struck, and most entering circulation, very few pristine coins survived. Add the fact that collectors in 1938 were just starting to pull out nickels for the new design, and you get a small but valuable pool of survivors. Now let's talk about where you could actually find a 1938 D. Jefferson nickel. These coins can still be discovered in old coin collections, inherited boxes, or coin albums that families put together decades ago. They occasionally turn up at estate sales, yard sales, and flea markets. If you're really lucky, you might even stumble across one in a bankroll of nickels, although that's extremely rare today. And if you happen to own one in great condition, the smartest move is to have it graded and certified by PCGS or NGC. That grading gives collectors confidence and unlocks the full market value. Once certified, you can sell it through major auctions like heritage auctions or Stack's Bowers, where collectors with deep pockets are waiting to bid. So the 1938 D Jefferson nickel may look like just another early Jefferson, but in the right grade, especially with full steps, it can leap into six-figure values like $128,000 or $133,000, turning a simple 5-cent coin into a life-changing treasure. In the middle of World War II, America's coinage changed forever. The government needed nickel metal for tanks, ships, and weapons, so the mint made a bold move. For the first time in US history, the Jefferson nickel was struck not in nickel, but in an unusual alloy of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. That's right, your 1943 S Jefferson nickel is actually a silver coin, hiding inside what looks like just another 5-cent piece. Now, the San Francisco Mint struck over 104 million nickels in 1943, which sounds like a huge number. But here's the twist. Most of them circulated heavily, and very few survived in pristine condition. Silver nickels tarnished quickly, developed spots, or lost detail in the design. That's why truly gem-quality survivors are so rare today, and collectors fight fiercely for them. Let's talk money, because this is where things get shocking. In well-worn condition, a 1043 might only bring $3 to $10, but the moment you step into mint state grades, the numbers climb fast. A solid MS-65 coin can bring $150 to $250 MS. 67 example jumps into the $2,000, $5,000 range. But here's where it gets jaw-dropping. A 1943 S Jefferson nickel with full steps at Monticello, sharp and unbroken, is one of the rarest sights in American numismatics. One such coin sold for a staggering $23,500. Another crossed the block at over $47,000. And experts say the finest possible examples could command as much as $15,000 in today's market. That's a six-figure payday hiding in a nickel most people wouldn't even glance at. Why such insane prices? It all comes down to scarcity and demand. Every year, the pool of high-grade coins gets smaller, Collectors chase full-step nickels for registry sets. And when a 1943S appears in perfect condition, the bidding war begins. More scarcity means more value. And with this coin, scarcity is off the charts. But here's the real suspense. You might already own one. These coins can turn up in the most unexpected places, tucked into a grandparent's coin jar, sitting in an old inherited collection, or even mixed into junk silver bags where dealers sell them for melt value. Imagine pulling out a silver, wartime nickel that turns out to be worth 115,000. That one find could literally change your life. So how do you unlock that value? Step 1. If you think you've found a nice 1943S, don't clean it, don't polish it, don't touch it with bare fingers. Step 2. Weigh it. A real silver war nickel weighs 5 grams, unlike later zinc or copper nickel pieces. Step 3. If it looks promising, send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Once it's slabbed and certified, you've just transformed an ordinary-looking coin into an auction-ready treasure. And where do you sell it? The best options are major auction houses, like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. You can also sell through reputable coin dealers or even eBay if you're careful. But remember, top dollar prices come when collectors trust the grade. And that's why certification is key. So the next time you see a dull, greyish nickel from 1943 with a little S mint mark above Monticello, don't ignore it. That coin is silver. It's a piece of World War II history. And in the right grade, it could bring you more than $100,000. Imagine 5 cents turning into 6 figures. That's not just a coin. That's a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered.